This is Next Steps for Seniors with your host, Wendy Jones. Each week, Wendy brings resources and information to help guide you through those next steps with elderly parents and loved ones. If you have questions or topic suggestions, you can call us at 248-651-5010.
Hi, I'm Wendy Jones, your host, and welcome to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. Our topic today is hospital stays. I feel like it's really important to understand anybody as they age that goes into the hospital, to understand all the different things and the people that you'll come in contact with at a hospital. So first, I want to say, usually when you go to the hospital, if you are in an ambulance, you will always go directly into the emergency room and get a bed right away. If you come in a car, you will always probably wait in the waiting room. So if it is an urgent matter, please call 911 and come through an ambulance unless you want to spend a couple hours or more in the emergency department waiting room. That's my first thing. Okay. Once you're in the hospital, it is important to understand the difference between observation and admittance. So when you're admitted to the hospital, that basically means that they found a medically necessary diagnosis to bring you into the hospital, and you need to stay there 3 days or 72 hours in order for Medicare to step in and cover a subacute rehab, depending on your insurance, I should say. If you are in observation, that usually means they did not find a medically necessary reason for you to be there, and you actually would have to only be in observation for a short while. Otherwise, insurance won't cover it. So I highly recommend, after you're in an emergency room and in your hospital gown and eating your meals in a room, I recommend you ask, am I admitted to the hospital? Or am I in observation? Just so you have an understanding of how the billing works and if they have a medically necessary reason to keep you there. If they run further tests and you're there for numerous days, chances are high that you're admitted, but I've seen people actually be in observation and still have additional tests done and stay overnight. So I just want to make sure you ask, and the person you ask is the care manager. So every patient is actually assigned a care manager when they get to a hospital, and that person is responsible the second you get there to plan for your discharge. And why? Because a hospital is designed really to get you in, get you better, and get you out. They are not a long-term setting. If you want a long-term setting, you go to rehab or you go to a nursing home or an assisted living. This is just designed as get you better and get you home. So the care manager is an important person. Usually they'll write their name on the whiteboard in the hospital, and that'll be your point person to ask questions about, are you admitted, for example, would be a question you ask the care manager. How much is covered by insurance? They can go through the billing department and find that out. How long am I staying? When are they going to discharge me? What kind of plan are you helping me with? These are all the things that the care manager manages. Do I get a wheelchair when I leave the hospital? All those questions go to the care manager, and that's a very important person to know at the hospital. The next important person is the hospitalist. That person is a physician and oversees all of your care while you are in the hospital. Now, you might have different specialists that are doing tests, like a cardiologist or a urologist, but all of those tests accumulate, and the hospitalist, that one physician, oversees all of your care. So you want to make sure you understand who that point person is for you and keep in touch with that person. And if you have any questions about how the tests went with the cardiologist, for example, that hospitalist would be able to get that information for you if you can't get a hold of the cardiologist yourself. So it's just important to understand the role of that particular physician. So your care manager and that physician are probably the two most important people to you in the hospital while you're there. If you can't hear or understand a doctor, please ask them to speak louder or move closer to the bed. They don't know that you can't understand them, and it's really important. Sometimes I even ask, would you mind if I record this for my family, and just record it on your iPhone? You can click the record button, because it's important to understand everything the hospital is saying to you, and it might be very quick, or it might be with a foreign accent and you can't understand, or quiet, right? There's numerous things that happen in a hospital, and there's a lot of noise. So if you record it, you could listen to it later. The other important person really in a hospital, the other important thing to know, I should say, in a hospital is when you're discharged, this is the best time. If you're over the age of 65 and you're on Medicare, this is the best time for you to get the equipment that you need. It's called DME, Durable Medical Equipment. And you're going to want, for example, either a wheelchair or a walker. Now, it's important to know you cannot get both. You get one or the other. So if you're walking, they're probably going to recommend a walker for you. Now, obviously, a wheelchair is more expensive. So if you're not walking and you want to just get a wheelchair, then ask them for that. And then you can go buy a walker if you get better and you can use a walker because that's less expensive to purchase than a wheelchair. These are just small tips and important facts for you to know and for your loved ones to know when they're in the hospital. And also, most importantly, try to have an advocate with you at all time. It is so important as you're sitting in that hospital to have a second person with you that can listen to the stories, that can listen to the doctors, that can ask questions, that can just be an advocate, whether it's a child, a neighbor, a friend, a spouse, it doesn't matter. Just having someone with you in the hospital is really important as long as you possibly can. Obviously at nighttime, they're probably going to go home and sleep so they can feel better for the next day. But I think it's important for that as well. I just wanted to share those important hospital tips. As you know, you can reach us at 248-651-5010 if you have any other questions in regards to that. And thank you for tuning into Next Steps for Seniors Conversations on Aging. Our life goal is to make your life easier.